What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Yimbo. Welcome back to my channel, Yimbo Reviews Everything. And it's a Sunday night, so you know what that means. It is an episode of Yimbo Buys Everything. This is number 43, and I should be keeping track of my toy photography origin story interview series. But we have another really awesome guest lined up tonight. So I see him backstage, but before I bring him in, we're giving him a second to get acclimated to this is going to be his first appearance. He'll get to let me know. So I just wanted to, number one, thank you all for being here live. If you are with me now in the chat, so let's just see real quick. There's Tuscan Traders. You like to beat the crowds. Thank you, my friends. And Skullify. There's Rusty. What's going on, my man? Thank you guys for coming in. Let me get my banner going real quick. Yeah, the banner. It's one of the banners. I don't even know. You know what? Don't even worry about the banner. And if you are watching the replay, so thank you. Thank you very much. Like I always say, I really appreciate the fact that you were willing to spend part of your life with me, listening to me talk about toys. So we are going to jump in a second. I just want to clear up the housekeeping. Normally I have to save it for the end, but since we're jumping into the interview, I just want to remind everybody that the Lone Wolf Labs diorama giveaway is ongoing. Like, the entries are still happening right now. It's Kevin from Lone Wolf Labs is generously donating this fantastic diorama. I should have queued that up. I didn't. So I'm just reminding you, because again, if you hopefully follow me on Instagram, it's up there. I've been sharing stuff to my story. So the rules are all there. You need to follow both of us, like the post, and tell me who you want to see fighting in front of it. It's a really cool diorama. It really is awesome. So make sure you enter that. And send me a screenshot if you're subbed here to my YouTube channel, and you get a bonus entry. So holler. So he's going to be joining me next Sunday on May 1st. That's when we're going to spin the wheel to find out our winner. I do have some big buys, but I'm holding off on those big buys. I got my Sentinel Pete. I found Ace Duck and the Mutagen Man this weekend. But I'm going to hold off on those reviews because these interviews are coming. So I need to make more time for streaming or reviewing or something here. So I'm going to be doing that. But that's it. So let's see real quick. So I see Clintastic. Hello. What's going on, my man? And No Chewing's in the house. Hey, Sunty and Marco Rabbit's Den. Thank you guys for joining. And here we go. I'm going to bring them in. So this is Figure Battles. This is our boy Rob. Here we go.
What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
It's a pleasure to finally get to meet you, my man.
We've been talking for a while.
Dude, seriously, for a long time. Here, I was going to actually bring this up. This is what I did have prepared for us. I wanted to remind everybody, like, you and I have been chit-chatting since November, right? If not even before. But
yeah,
like, this was awesome. This was your idea. This was how Batman would take down the Justice League. We did it through the YTG pick bar. Dude, this thing was amazing. I had such a blast. I looked up. It had 198 posts over the course of 4 weeks. That was a nice little run. We had a nice little run there. And then the other thing I wanted to show everybody, I always like to show off your work. So here, I'm going to bring up your account real quick. Because, dude, I don't know if did you catch my, I was doing my research today. Did you notice that?
No, wasn't paying attention, man.
Oh, dude, it's okay. I went back in time. I wanted to look up your very first post. So here's your awesome account, man. Dude, this shot today, we'll talk about it. Because I know it caused some conflict in some factions of the toy community. But what a hell of a shot. And dude, I mean, like, honestly, man, your stuff has always been fantastic. Like, the figure battles, you've been true to your name this whole time. And I love that you're now branching. I mean, you've been doing it for a little while now, but branching out into like really fun, creative shots like this. Like, this was so, I love it. I love it. So yeah, so what wonderful job. So here we go, my man. Like I said, I have some questions for you. So number one, this is how I've been starting. And again, I don't have the ego that thinks that you've been watching the show or anything. So my first question for my origin story guests are, what were your first action figures? These are mine. These are the very first two that when I look back, I'm saying, like, I've had other ones. I had He-Man, like Lion-O or everybody. But when I really think about it, these were the two that that really like, these guys got me into collecting. So do you have an early memory? Like I was like 3, 4, 5 years old when I had these, and like I beat them up, dude. These are my originals. So like you could see the paint, the love law. I love these guys so much.
Oh,
I
yeah,
beat them up so badly, dude. I love how Batman like has a little blue chin goatee just from the paint chipping. So, yeah, what do you think? Do you have somebody that, or like one or two figures that you could think of?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was definitely a Spider-Man kid. Still am a Spider-Man kid.
Okay.
And actually, last time I went home and visited my family, I raided their attic and found a bunch of my old stuff. So that Spider-Man is, I've got that just over there somewhere.
Yeah.
With all my old stuff.
That's
So,
awesome.
Definitely have those.
So that's really interesting. All right. So see, like I always have my set questions, but like as I hear, you guys talk about this stuff. So as I hear your answers, I wore a Batman shirt. I was convinced your Batman would be your number one guy. So, but Spidey was your early on, or is that still like?
I was definitely more into the Marvel and Spider. I love the Spider-Man cartoon growing up. It was awesome.
Okay.
It was really more, I guess, kind of later in my life that I kind of started discovering the whole Batman thing and the DC stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly that's kind of focusing on that stuff because it's more new to me, I guess.
Okay, interesting. All right, so then I'm going to jump ahead because I had this question for you because I was. This is kind of like leading in perfectly. So, who do you feel like? So, number one, I saw that you started on October 19th of 2020, which is so interesting because like that was literally within days of my first. It was terrible. Your picture was like so far beyond what I did. But
I did a lot of my first stuff. I went back and I was like, that's pretty bad.
No, but see, I always think it's like it was the best I could do at the time. I'm so, like I kept, it's there. So was that your official first shot? Let me start there. Or did you clean up the account a little bit, like as you started taking off?
Well, my first couple shots were of some John Wick stuff that was not so hot. Kind of got a little bit better at it, and then I just kind of went back through and got rid of the really low hanging fruit stuff.
That's fair. That's fair. So when did you actually officially dive in then? And that'll be, I guess, so around that same time in that August of 2020?
It was maybe a month prior to that. We were,
oh, okay.
I saw a lot of photographs online that was like, oh man, people are doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wanted to try it myself, and luckily started finding these communities that do it and seeing how everyone kind of makes a movie scene out of small scale toys. And I was like, I got to try that, and jumped right into it about that time. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So actually, that's very interesting that you like another thing that I know of you and just like, in talking to you all these months is I know that you truly prefer a cinematic style of toy photography. You really love the horizontal, the landscape. You want it to feel cinematic. And I mean, I respect the hell out of it. Like, I know I go back and forth, but I would say the majority of my stuff probably is also in that landscape mode too. But yeah, it's the portrait cell, man.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I understand why you want to have that, the portrait that fits with the Instagram scrolling. Mm-hmm. But anytime I generally try to fit into that aspect ratio, I'm losing what I want on the sides, and I feel like it gets crammed, and then I end up just going back to the wide again anyway.
Yeah, you're like the anti-Zack Snyder. You want the full widescreen effect.
That was pretty bold going 4x3.
It really was. That's a whole nother bananas issue. But but yeah, that was really interesting. That's always been like a trademark of yours, and you've been always very adamant that like you want it to feel like a movie scene, which again I respect. It's fantastic.
That's what it is for me. Is a way to what's how to word this, like direct my own scene with characters that you would never be able to do in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's really awesome, man. And like I said, I've always been into that. So, all right, so that's really cool. So August 2020, that's great. So now jumping ahead, because this is where the question that was going to popped into my head. So, like I said, I thought Batman. Well, I guess let me put it this way: we all know our fandoms and opinions can change. So, right now, who do you feel is like in your top 1 or 2 spots of like your superhero fandom?
That's a tough one. I mean, I feel like I like a lot of them, but the ones I really, I guess, I don't know. It depends. Figures or movies or whatever. It's all different stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, obviously, I like Batman a lot. Spider-Man's up there, though I don't shoot him as much. But yeah, I kind of like them all.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I wore my Batman shirt for you because I thought hands down that was going to be your top. And I remember something you said once to me because like we were talking about, I think it was around the time you were launching the video game challenge or we were going back and forth trying to come up with like a cool Spider-Man idea. And you're like, man, I just don't shoot. I don't know how you worded it, but it was like, was it a matter of just not like you have a great grasp of the Batman character and his mentality and things he'd say and how he'd speak. Is it the same type of like is it an anti version of that with Spider-Man? Like I forget your reasoning for like how you couldn't get the ideas going or the shots going. It was something like that.
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
So it's mostly that my mind comes up with very extravagant photos, and obviously Spider-Man can do more extravagant things. Mm-hmm. And then when I try to make that happen in a photograph, it gets really difficult. But I would say that the reason why I tend to shoot Batman more than others is it's a more grounded type character. I like to shoot. I guess my favorite character to shoot is lighting. I spend so much more time thinking about the lighting and setting it up and experimenting with it that the darker, low lit scenes they kind of jump out to me a little bit more as far as what I'm capable of doing. And that is what has drawn me more towards that character than anything else, probably.
Oh, that's all right. See, that's a great answer. I appreciate great answer. Good answer. I really like that. So lighting is your favorite character to shoot. That's great because I wanted to bring this back up again. Speaking of this shot, because I know I wasn't very active in the chat today, but I was lurking hard. So I saw so I saw your conversation about like how you lit this and then deciding what elements to enhance and which things you wanted. So you really pushed yourself to right with like the editing of this. I know you said you had some issues with the scratches of the old system.
Oh yeah. I first took the shots and then I guess I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but it seems like it looks really good. And then you blow it up on the computer and you go, oh my God, I gotta start over. And that was one that I did that with because as soon as I brought it up on screen, it looked like the PS2 survived the tornado or something. That was just scratches everywhere, and it was very highlighted by the light. And I was like, okay. I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I'll try it again. But I kind of tried to keep the scratches muted in the dark, and I think it worked.
No, that was awesome. There's our buddy Jace. That's a Storybook Heroes, right? He's like he loves this shot. Here we go. Love that shot. So yeah, like I wanted to go back to some of these other ones. I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of Batman being like such. So here we go. Here's a fun Spider-Man shot. So something like this, I completely agree with you. Number one, I just got that Sentinel Peter B. Parker, so I'm so excited to shoot him. But shooting Spider-Man, I'm just going to say it's a pain in the ass. It's a really hard setup because I want to use the awesome webbing. I want to do amazing stuff with it. But then I just know it's going to be like another 20 or 30 minutes of editing. And sometimes I don't have that time. My kids.
It's easier to take a picture of a character on the ground doing a detective scene or driving a Batmobile. That's easier. And that's why I gravitate toward it. Path of least resistance.
But man, this was a beautiful shot. What a great idea! So, you've played then obviously the Spider-Man video game, right?
Yeah, this was my own interpretation of one of those.
The fast track. It was so good. Is that the Extreme Set Subway?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay. Yeah, that's that. Like, man, I only have 2 extreme sets so far, but I have, I'm running out of dio space. I'd love more though. Like that one's a great one. And dude, this shot. Now, did you make this explosion, or is this one that?
Uh, Storybook Heroes. He was a
Oh
guy
yeah, okay,
who referred me to the guy that was making these. However, I think he showed it to me on eBay. That's where I got it. I didn't know who it was until he
okay,
recently showed me
okay.
who. But it's a cool. It's a
Man,
really cool spot.
and how'd you like that one? That was lit from behind with an RGB, or
The guy makes them with the light source inside of it. It's like surrounded
wow.
by some kind of insulation foam, and there's like the light strands coming out, and you plug it into the wall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, I've said again for months in our conversations that like you get featured by Extreme Sets quite a bit, and I said it's because you are one of the people that like because of the lighting and because of how you shoot it in the editing, it never looks like cardboard, which I feel like is a challenge when you shoot Extreme Sets because like
Yeah.
it's it's a beautiful thing. Same thing with diorama prints. Instead of it looking like cardboard, my challenge with that is not getting the glossy like glare off of it. It's that same challenge, but and it's a fun challenge, but it's also a pain. Look,
I
God,
definitely go through and I touch up the little cardboard edges, just
yeah,
meticulously if I have to do that.
man, some of these now this one, God, oh, this is the real. Some of these, this one too, man. This is your foray right into like you had this in the Mando recently, which was like kind of like it's not a 5:4 portrait, right? This is more of the 1-to-1 style aspect. But what a killer portrait, man!
Just a little.
Ah, it's so good. It's so good. But I was trying to like I'm trying to find one of your other Batman shots with like the ground and pound. Oh, like I mean, this is just another fantastic shot. I love and with the Bratsmobile and the real headlights. God, this is so good, dude.
That's a really cool car. My girlfriend asked me where I got it, and I didn't tell her what it is.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We, like, I mean, fortunately, I have the excuse. I have 3-year-olds, so I could be like, oh, like, my daughter will eventually get it, or my son, like, whoever. They'll both play with everything. So,
I have an excuse for it, so I just didn't tell her what
it was. Yeah. Here's some examples of some of the darker. Like, this is really awesome. Which Batmobile is this? Is this a Raptor?
No, that's the it's a Mattel one. It's supposed to be for the 12-inch one, but it's like exactly scaled for 1/12 scale. I don't really understand.
I've seen that.
Really cheap.
Yeah, I've been super tempted because like the black one was the best one. I feel like I've still seen the blue version like on Amazon for like $29. But you're right, that one I've looked because I was looking at the Spin Master has like the Batman one for the 12-inch figures, but that is a little too big.
Oh.
I don't know if you see, and I can't find them anywhere.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Spin Master.
I think Spin Master did that one too. Yeah, I think you're right. But the one for the Batman, first of all, I can't even find it anywhere. Like people have it, but that one I remember seeing a comparison video on YouTube, and the guy was like, it's just a little too big compared to like where it should fall on Battinson's shoulder or his arm. But oh, that's great that you have that. Oh, that's a really good one. And that's another challenge is like having. Well, I guess this is another big thing. How are you doing on space? This is a question I didn't write down, but in terms of your collecting, how are you doing with like where you keep your stuff and like are you feeling?
I don't have displays at all. I have nobody is standing anywhere. They're all just in bags in bins. Okay. And that's where they're all kept away until I throw them all out until I find what I want, and then I make a giant mess and eventually go back and try to clean it all up. But yeah, as far as space goes, I think I keep everything kind of condensed because I don't display really anything.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, like I've always said, I know I'm lucky to have this little basement space and I get to put these idiots up on the shelf behind me. But so yeah, you know who else does that is Mezco McSwain. I know all his stuff is like tubbed up and in drawers, like so he pulls it out for his shoots. So how often do you shoot then a week?
I can almost only shoot on the weekends, really. So I do most of my shooting like sometimes I can squeeze a little bit in on like a Thursday, but usually it's all on the weekend, Friday through Sunday, and then I usually just shoot it out that weekend.
Okay, very good.
To hold on to it much for the week. I don't have full control.
Dude, I know it. I'm the same way. But yeah, I used to be the daily shooter, and then I guess ever since I don't even know, maybe in the last year, since last summer, having this setup and just kind of being inundated with as many toys, and just my kids getting bigger. It's like I'm definitely more of like a weekend shooter now too. If I'm lucky, I'll get to squeeze in. Like I want to shoot that. We have that Mezco collab for tomorrow. Like, did I do that? Like, I got to shoot that maybe tonight if I get to, if I have the energy after our talk.
Really, I haven't done it yet either. I may miss this one, but I'd like to knock it out.
Yeah. All right. So, how often? So, going back to the setup. So, I noticed in that first shot that you have on your account, it was another awesome Metal Gear shot. Like so Metal Gear, Snakespin is somebody that you've gone to, right? Like he's one of your boys. And did you jump into extreme sets like early on? Because I know I didn't jump in right away. I felt like I had to prove it to my.
I would say so because I started seeing these pictures of what people were doing, and people that have just incredible dioramas handmade or bought from someone that's handmade it. And it was like the kind of the easiest thing that I could do that I think could look good, but didn't require me to actually make anything. Because the stuff I tried to make has not really gone over that well. I'll end up destroying it some way or another unintentionally. But those were easy cardboard. You tear them down, fold them up, put them away. They're pretty easy to use. So I did get into those, I'd say relatively early when I started shooting.
Yeah. Oh, so like that was the one with the halo shots was the Sector 7, I think, right? Is that the name of that one?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. So like something like that, you at the end of your starting like tonight. That's all broken down now. That's in a closet. Like for.
Well, I have a table. I've got these those plastic fold-up tables. I've got like two, so some extra depth. And usually I never tear down a scene though because I'm too lazy to do it. I just leave it up, and then when I go in to do something else, I'm like, I just shove it all over. But I try to. Well, usually when I'm not using one, I usually tear them down and just set them off in a closet. Just because they're easy to store compared to like the big foam stuff, which I have bought a couple foam-made diorama scenes, but they're just bulky and they take up a lot of space, even stored compared to cardboard anyway.
That's true. I, like I have the second story of my building 6.0 right now, like broken down, and it is super easy to just pop that all together into a little square. It's very nice. Whereas, the foam stuff, even with magnets, it's so much thicker. Like you can't help it. It just can take up more space. What's up?
The handcrafted stuff is gorgeous. Using the insulation foam, cut out the bricks and stuff, and it does look incredible. You can't really compete with that kind of diorama.
Well, dude, I will check my list, but did you enter the contest yet that I'm going to be giving away that thing next week, the diorama next week? Okay, good. I have my list. I think you're on here. I just wanted to make sure. But dude, like that guy makes tremendous stuff. Lone Wolf Labs, like really, like, and for the price, it's excellent. And even like somebody like Benny Blitzfigs has been cranking stuff out. Sunty's been doing stuff, so it is doable. I just know that like my wife is the artistic one of the two of us, so like I'm trying to always push her into like, hey, what do you think about? Can you make a rolling like a shutter gate for a brick wall? I need one of those.
I've got a huge respect for people that can handcraft that kind of stuff because it's something that kind of almost looks like it might be easy to do, and then you try it yourself, and at least every time I've tried, I'm like, I'm biting off way more than I can chew
here. So what else have you been doing? Like, have you enjoyed like, so you have the extreme sets. Have you been enjoying like the world building? Have you been buying so it sounds like you've been buying more. Have you tried your hand at some of the smaller accessories or props? Like how have you been filling in your space with everything? Because your shots are awesome. I mean, like you fill it up with a lot of details. You have a lot of stuff going on.
Uh, I cannot remember the guy's name right now. Diorama Boy. I got
Oh, okay.
not one from him, actually two, and his come with an incredible amount of accessories, just like trash cans and fire extinguishers and trash and pallets and boards and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I usually throw that kind of stuff in basically every scene, whether or not it makes it in the shot or not, just because it fills in some space. Because I feel like if you don't really fill in the space with an extreme set, it starts to just kind of look like cardboard. But you add some three-dimensional layers to it, which is some junk and trash. It starts to actually look pretty decent for what it is.
Yeah. And his stuff has been tremendously awesome too. Like, I mean, man, when you find a good, like those props are fantastic because they are as legitimately real looking in a shot as anybody's stuff. Like his stuff is awesome. So that's where I was curious about if they were like your handmade or something. But yeah, so they are handmade. But Diorama Boy, all right, that's a not those. Yeah, fair enough. So man, this has been so much fun. I do have more questions. I'm not rushing us anything, but are you feeling better? This is your first live, right?
Yeah, I've never done anything like this before. Yeah, I didn't know what we were going to talk about necessarily. I wanted to kind of, I guess, read up on whatever we're going to talk about, but going in not knowing is also just as fun.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I know. Like this weekend, like I've had a big, it's just a lot of time with the family, and I was like, there's nothing. Like the interview's you. I wanted to know about yourself, so it was hard for me to like prep you on like, like I just wanted to know what makes you tick as a photographer, and like so what made you get into the whole thing? So is it very similar to just probably we all have a very similar origin story in that regard? Like you just saw. Have you always collected toys? Like how about that?
I guess as far as the collecting thing goes, that was maybe around the same time I started shooting. I really started to get these things to shoot specifically.
Okay.
I didn't really have anything prior to that, but just before I started doing that, I wanted to have like a small display of characters that had a huge influence on my life. So I was going to have just certain video game characters, certain movie characters, just a real small, maybe like 5 or 6 characters, and then looking into those is when I saw pictures of people doing highly cinematic photographs with these things. And then I was like, okay, now I'm seeing something I want to try myself.
Yeah.
But as far as getting into photography in general, though, so my dad, he does like multimedia stuff for local businesses, local commercials, and all that. And growing up with him, I would get the opportunity to occasionally be like a little gopher on like a little set of a commercial and kind of help with either like prompters or cameras or whatever. And seeing a lot of that kind of stuff was really interesting to me, to see how, what a commercial looks like when it stops rolling and what everybody's doing and all the different parts that make it up. And so I always had kind of an interest in cinematography and film, and I like that kind of thing. And it was really what kind of kicked it all off was my dad contacted me and was like, hey, I'm selling my camera like now. So either I'm going to sell it to you for a family discount, or it's going to go on eBay for $200 more than I'm offering you. And I was like, sure, I'll buy it. And he mails it to me, and I open it up, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know how to work this thing at all. I call him and be like, hey, how do you make this thing work? All the time. And then just by doing that, he's a good resource, and is really, really helpful and kind of teaching me how to make it go, so to speak. That it's almost kind of built a relationship between me and my dad more on the photography thing, and that's those things coming together is ultimately what kind of made me do it. That and seeing really good work online.
Yeah, dude, that's really awesome. Oh, so that's very interesting that like it wasn't something necessarily that because I've always liked photography just in general, like just but never like I only got my I call it my fancy camera like last March, or last April. That was when I finally like splurged. Otherwise, like I've tried to take nice pictures on my iPhone, and it's been like something and then I started teaching like a mass media class, but like it was never a thing. So it very sounds like very something that like you and I are very similar in that it's been a thing in our lives. We find it interesting, but we needed that spark to really bring it all together.
Yeah, it's such a cool hobby because it really does marry a lot of different concepts together that I think are individually interesting on their own. I can tell that we share a similar interest in that kind of stuff. That even just photography on its own is interesting, and then comic book characters are interesting, and then you put it all together, and it's a really cool hobby. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And like you said, comparing it to directing a scene in a movie, that's something that I would have always loved to do. I'll never get that opportunity on a big scale, but
exactly. Yeah, I definitely try to make sure that every shot, at least I try to take, tells some kind of story. I always try to imagine that the scene you're looking at, you should be able to think of or visualize what happened before that, and then what's going to happen after that. And that the shot is a little slice of that time going on. That's usually how I kind of approach shooting. It would be kind of similar to directing something. It's continuous, at least in my head.
Yeah. All right. So I have a couple of other questions for you. So, one of them you may have kind of answered, but here's a big one. So this is like a big talk kind of question, like, because obviously at the end of the day, I mean, like I try to have the most fun with it. Just keeping myself in check that it's a hobby and it's for fun and I'm lucky I get to do it. And I keep that, always as that's my baseline. But then I obviously have goals. Like, I mean, like I'm trying to build this channel. So do you have goals in mind for your account? Because I mean, you have a nice thing going. It's been building. Your shots are incredible. You enjoy it. So is there a bigger picture in mind that you have for it?
I'm not particularly aiming for anything necessarily.
Sure, right.
It's more that, I'm trying to have an outlet to do something that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is any kind of goal, I guess it would just be to better understand photography in general, and then maybe apply those kind of skills elsewhere if it's ever needed or have an opportunity. But as far as strictly with this, I don't, not really. Just have fun and enjoy the community and be part of something.
That's awesome. Who was the rapper that I was pushing? Like the guy reached out to you. What was it? Bugsy Malone? Was that his name?
Yeah.
He just came across my feed. I still follow him, and I was like, "Why do I have this guy on my feed?" I was like, "Oh, that's right." Because
that was the bigger battle. It was interesting. I totally forgot about that. I didn't even like he just contacted me out of the blue and was like talking to me, and I didn't know who he was. He's just talking, and kind of asking some questions and stuff, and then like I was like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. I look at his profile and I see like just millions of views or following. I'm like, who is this dude?
Right.
And some kind of apparently rather famous UK rapper or something.
Right.
Offered to take a shot, like of him or whatever. And he seemed very interested at first, and then like he just kind of went quiet.
Yeah, what a bummer. But like I'm happy you shot your, like you literally shot your shot. You took your shot because like that was one of those things I remember telling you. I'm like, what's good for you is good for the community. What's good, like we got to grow. I mean, like
there were a couple people, maybe like 2 or 3 people that I talked to about that as it was going on, and you were one of them, and you were definitely like super motivated, like, oh man, pursue this, push it, get what you can out of it, and I'm like, oh, what do I even do this?
Well, that was a great shot. I wish he got back to you. I'm sad he ghosted on you because really that was a cool shot too. And I'm telling you, it's one of those things. Like Oscar Isaac, for instance, is a massive like collector. Did you know that?
I saw a picture of him recently with some figures, but I didn't know that he actually collected. I thought it was just here's a product, hold it, you're moving kind of thing. But
no, he's one of us, man. He's got the big sideshow and hot toy collection.
Really?
And he has
cool. That's cool.
I don't know if did you watch the last episode? Have you been keeping up on?
Yeah, for sure.
So when he had the Moon Knight figure?
Yeah.
And so apparently, like he has that the legend that a bunch of us pre-ordered. I don't know if you pre-ordered it too. I definitely did. But that figure, he has it, and it's his brother. Like somehow, his brother did the review, I think that's what it was. Like the guy that did he only has like 1,000 YouTube subscribers, but it made the rounds like the Marvel Legends hands-on Moon Knight, and it's Poe Dameron's brother, Oscar Isaac's brother, who's like, it's just really interesting. So again, like
Cool.
I genuinely believe that this is going to continue to blow up. And I guess that kind of, I'm going to bring it up now because it was really ridiculous today. So you and I are both in I feel like it's like the boogeyman. I don't want to say it too many times, but the ACBA Facebook group, right? So I want to be very, you know how I handle things, very positive, and I have a nice outlook on things. But yeah, there's a lot of gatekeeping in that community, sadly, which is a bummer because you took that awesome, snake shot today with the PS2, and you caught a little bit of flack for it not following the rules, and again, ACBA, like, so that is toy photography, but it's not. Toy photography isn't just now ACBA, and I feel like it's one of those things. I'm just gonna leave it at this, Rob. Where I heard a great quote once that it's, like, we don't need a seat at your table. We're gonna build our own table. Like, and I feel like they're gonna get stuck in the past if they keep up that gatekeeping, and it does feel like gatekeeping, and I do feel like the moderators there need to chill because for the way they word the critiques, the people that are posting, you hear I read the fear and anxiety and trepidation in like people. Yeah. What do you think? Is it okay? Like that's, and I feel like that's, to me, yeah, when we hold up like the hand saying like, hey, this is kind of like, you are talking down to people, and it's like, no, yeah, there's that little bit of gaslighting and gatekeeping going on, which is a bummer because, so much of the toy community has been incredibly positive, and like I know, like in our space, in our circles, that's all it is. That's all I see is positivity,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to have found the group of guys that I get to talk to all the time. Yeah. I felt like I kind of experienced a little bit of that right when I just entered this community in general. But thankfully, it kind of gravitated toward the more positive people, which has been awesome. Makes it a great experience to collaborate and interact with some really good people.
Yeah. So and I know that it's again, I'm trying to be careful because again, these are big time accounts, these are big time names. I'm not trying to like throw shade. I'm not like trying to subtweet at anybody or any of that nonsense. It's just, I people need to realize that maybe open a door of perspective that like it is art and it is a form of art. And yes, you may have been here first and you may have set your ground rules, but that doesn't mean that you should be pushing people down. Cause all I know is the people I talk to are literally I bring in my niece and I can't wait to teach my kids, and somebody like, teaching the next generation. I've shown my students toy photography. You know what I mean? Like just like, and they embrace, they're like, oh my God, this is a thing. I'm like, yeah, because you're like 13, 14 years old and you're just at the point where you're like, I can't play with these anymore. And it's like, no, you still can. I'm going to be 40. Like, it's all good, guys. Don't worry.
The thing about that community that I kind of wish that they would identify is that what it is now is, it to me kind of seems like a set of challenge type rules, because now I feel like a lot of these resources that we have available that aren't part of those rules are readily available to everybody, and a lot of people are using them. But if you kind of bring those reins in and bring those limits in and then shoot within that limitation, it feels like a set of challenge rules. And I think it's interesting in that regard.
Yes.
But I don't think that they necessarily view it as that. If it was more like, hey, this is a next level challenge to attempt. I think to me, that's what it feels more like. Because right. I mean, I definitely do use a lot of the tools on most of my shots that they don't like.
Right.
But to where I overly rely on, and if you do strip them down to just their rules, it makes for a challenging shot to me. And
yeah,
it should be viewed as that. It is as something that's you strive for if you want to enter that kind of a challenge.
It is. It's to me, like, I mean, like even thinking of Metal Gear, it's basically like, do you want to play on normal or expert or hard, or hardcore,
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. I feel
yeah.
Like that way it really is. if you've been used to using edits and and there are times where I'm shooting something and I'm like, that doesn't look good. It looks wonky there, but I know I can fix that in post later. So I just let it go. But if you're hey, I got to make it look good or perfect right in front of the camera, that's definitely challenging.
Sure. Like I know, like, again, not to, because I know one of the things also that was brought up with one of your amazing shots was like a muzzle flash. And it's like, what are you supposed to do, man? Like if you could throw in, if you could just edit in a little muzzle flash real quick and then call it a day, and you have this awesome shot that you're proud of, you throw it out there, people dig it and people like it, then that's awesome. Then end of story. To be like, well, did you light a firecracker and do it like it's like,
well, yeah, and that just goes right in hand with what we were saying earlier, that there's definitely a hard mode to this, and that's what it seems like to me. If you really want to make a physical, tangible muzzle flash, that's hard. That's some expert difficulty stuff compared to sticking it on there with a mouse.
Well, look here. I'm gonna bring up this Batman again. I love this Batman, by the way. Again, I know you're a Batman fan. I just had to bring him up. This is the Ascending Knight, but with, I think, the Sovereign head. One of the. Or is he?
Head on for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, this is a flare from Jurassic Park, from the Ian Malcolm figure. But I saw today someone made a tangible flare with the cotton and I hot glue and lit it up and everything, and that's amazing. Good for you. This works just as fine for me. And I know this still counts, I guess, in terms of their rules, but you don't have to. That's a hard mode. This is easier for me. I had it. I bought it. It made my life better. And I get to achieve a similar effect, and I'll be happy with my shot when I take it. Like, again, at the end of the day, are you proud of your work? I feel like that's always the number one thing, and that's how my attitude has been towards, people's posts. And I think you do too. We share the same thing. It's like, if a person's putting it out on the internet, they feel proud of it. So why crap on it? Like, why?
And to me, it's usually, because we've all done it before, it's kind of, you can tell when someone's just dabbling into it for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they all do it the same way that I did it, where, you do a bunch kind of on your own, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah. And like finally you get that one, you're like, I think this one finally might look good enough to put on the internet. Yeah. And you can tell that that's kind of where they're at. And you can see it's a new account, and it has that look of like they're just figuring it out, and it looks good, and they're on to something. And then to see anything like that get shot down is that kind of hits me in the gut a little bit. Yeah. I hit me a little bit at first, just on Instagram in general. Yeah. And I think that can make people quit before they get started. Right. If anything, those people need as much positive reinforcement and criticism, I guess, as they can get.
Yeah, and that's why like at the Pick Bar, with Thor 2012, with Green Geek 88 and Blitzfigs, like we wanted to bring you in because we knew that you shared that positive attitude you had, and then again, like you helped shine a light on the Pick Bar, because that's what we were trying to do. We were trying, especially for newer up and coming accounts, like. We're a safe spot. We vetted all these people, like to the best of our abilities, but everybody seems super cool. Our patrons to the bar. And it's like, that's, here we go. Toy talk. So this is Toy Father. I'm trying to, everybody gets a hug. That's right.
No, but just one, but you get one.
Yeah. Here's our boy Simon's in the chat. Now I know what you look like, Figure Battles. Better look over your shoulder. Oh, here we go. Because he's coming with a hug. You're gonna get a sandwich.
I don't like those.
Well, it's gonna be the two of us, Simon and I. You're just gonna be the cream to our Oreo.
That sounds a little easier to bear.
That's too funny. Let's see. Toy Addict 17. So Danny's saying people take this stuff too seriously. I'm all for constructive criticism, but to put people down for toy picks, come on, build a bridge and get over it. That's true.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of it just comes down to the wording. The wording is more, you shouldn't. Why did you? It should be more. Hey, I like what you did here. Try this. See what you think.
Right. And I know, like, something I like to do in my comments, is like talk about the things that really jumped out, because I know that when someone points something cool out that they notice in one of my pictures, I'm gonna want to try it again or try a different take. And like, you work on it. It's positive reinforcement. I just think people tend to deal better with positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
Oh man. So my last question that I wrote down out of all of these, and again, I feel like we've been doing it, but what is the one? Well, if there is one, but I mean, again, maybe we'll just have you reiterate something you've said already. But like, what is one of the aspects to toy photography that brings you the most joy?
It really is just being able to direct something that I would never ever be able to direct ever. I would never get the opportunity to direct a Star Wars film ever.
Yeah.
But at small scale, I can do it whenever I have the free time, and that's what makes that so cool. Is I can visualize and what scenario would I like to see, or how would I have changed something, or what would I do compared to that film, and then actually be able to do that. That's the big thing that jumps out to me is the appreciation of film, and then getting to do my own interpretation of it in a way that I can do here, and
right.
not try to be a director and not make it and all that stuff.
Do you have in hand's reach, or is it tubbed up somewhere, but you're like shirtless droid naked man that you made?
I wish you would have said something about that before I got on. I would have gotten out. No, I don't have it easily available.
I was just gonna say, did you ever post a picture of him? You have, right?
Yeah, I did a couple. I actually need to do more.
Oh, here he is. Okay, yes, I got to share this. All right, because this is, again, I mean, to me, this is what we're talking about. This is what you're talking about, getting to direct scenes or come up with something in a universe that we would never get to see otherwise. Your little R2-D2 naked guy. I mean, this was cracking me up. Did you have a name for him? I forget.
I can't remember. I think it was just like naked R2-D2 man or something like that.
But man, if that isn't the perfect like symbolism for what you've been talking about, then I don't know what is. That's fantastic.
That's Star Wars. That's my headcanon of Star Wars is R2-D2's a naked buff man that saved everybody.
Oh man. Well, Rob, I've been having a blast, dude, and I know you this is your first time out, and we were gonna keep it to like in an hour, under an hour, so we are closing in on that. I mean, unless you would like to keep going, if you have any favorite figures you want to show off, it's totally up to you, man. Do you have anything in hand's reach that you want to?
Sure, I got some stuff prepared.
Oh, there we go. Oh, and while you bust that out, Simon goes R2 Swole Bro. That's a good one.
I might take that one. So there is a figure I want to talk about who's very cool, very, very articulated. He's got everything you could ever need. It's the rubber Punisher guy. He looks as every bit as you would want him to look.
What is that?
His knees work just as they would, on a normal human being. This is just a weird. When I was raiding my parents' attic and found a lot of I found that and I was like, that's ridiculous. I've got to do like a really serious shot with this dude in the middle.
You have to. Oh my god, dude! Even if it's what could in the chat? I would love to if you guys could think of some. All right. Number one, the chat is going off right now with suggestions.
See the chat. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah. So Storybook Heroes, show us your helmet, and then he said Halo helmet. LOL. Clintastic says R2 deltoids. That's a great one. Make a great blow-up doll. That Simon, is that for the Punisher? that would be interesting. So yeah, in the chat right now, let's help Rob out with some ideas for the bendy Punisher. Because oh man, you're right. That would be very funny.
Covered in blood, obviously, for all the murdering he's been doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be something I'm going to try at some point.
Anybody else in hand's reach for you? Have you had like a favorite figure? What's one of your recent like buys that really like wowed you? Even if you don't have it in front of you, it's okay.
Well, the only I did bring a favorite, which is the one I've been shooting recently, which is just that the Figma snake. He's cool. He's cool, man.
Yeah.
Usually I do tend to prefer Mafex for a lot of stuff, but this Figma I think is awesome, mostly because I think that era of video games where the graphics weren't exactly good enough to be photorealistic.
Yeah.
You know, and action figures tend to not look super photorealistic. So they just kind of perfectly matched, I think, the way the game looked.
Oh, dude,
really cool figure.
Do you remember, did you have the first Metal Gear for PlayStation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I remember I got my parents were awesome. I got a PlayStation. I think it was my junior year of high school. You know, I know I'm sure I'm older than you, just based on how I'm looking at you. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely older than you. So I was a junior in high school when I got that PlayStation, and I remember the demo disc. You could play the first level, and feeling the rumble of the helicopter landing in that opening scene, and like the rumble across the controller. It still gives me goosebumps thinking that was like one of those first like. Holy crap! This is video games now. This is amazing. And man,
I can say that game for sure has influenced me enough to like cinematography just in general. It's I think for a lot of people it really captured an audience because of what it was, a cinematic game.
Yeah.
And, I definitely feel like that has had a huge impact on my life and why I like film too. And I think that's all translated into this hobby for sure.
Yeah. And I remember you saying something in a chat about like that stealth games, even like, you know, like I liked Metal Gear 5, but I didn't even finish it because I'm a jerk. But like I love Snake, but you're right, it's not where it came from, you know, like I know the more open world, like I definitely Rambo'd more of that game. That's what I like to call it. You know, like just running gunning instead of like doing the sneaky. But I did love games like Siphon Filter. Did you ever play those?
Yeah.
For sure. So is that, are you still lamenting that a little bit, like the death of the stealth games genre?
Absolutely. That was even the caption I used on one of the shots I had was it was the one where like I had Snake and like a little custom Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, and I was like, and they look like they're getting shot up.
That's right.
And I was like, this was taken right before the death of the stealth genre.
That's what it was. It was you. I knew it was you. It was in that post. That's right. Oh man.
The death of that genre still pains me for sure.
Yeah. What was the last? Is there a game that you could think of that still scratched the itch for you in the right way? I mean, I know, like Kenobi, or not Kenobi. What's the name of that? Kojima would say, well, you could play Metal Gear 5 in stealth mode if you wanted to, but like,
the games are actually pretty okay.
Okay.
As far as keeping that genre alive, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty much dead.
Yeah. We do need another Sam Fisher game. I will say that. Like, I would definitely be down for another Siphon Filter or Splinter Cell and a Siphon Filter. I would definitely be into both of those. That would be neat. I don't know. I'm with you. Those were fun games. But man, all right. So my last question: is there another good Snake out there? Because it was Reveltech had a 4-inch one, right? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
But my buddy had offered it to me, and I was like, the scale. I got to stick with the 6-inch scale, 6-inch, 7-inch.
Yeah, I feel you. As far as that goes, I think it's really just the Figma. I did try a couple of the Reveltech ones and wasn't a huge fan of them.
Okay.
Their standing pose, the best standing pose they have is like this huge squat stance, you know. So they look good when they're posed, but just they can't just stand. They look kind of strange.
Yeah, the latest Deadpool I have does a better job. The version 2 that came out recently. But this is my first Reveltech, and I bought it because I read reviews and heard people talking about the fact that they did address a lot of those issues. But yeah, like anything prior Reveltech, like they just don't do natural just standing dude well.
Especially the Metal Gear ones, they don't. They look like they're riding a horse, just standing there.
Well, that's a shame because that would be another. God, if Mezco could tackle a snake.
Ooh, I would love that one. I'm gonna buy it regardless if it's anything Metal Gear related. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, you know what? Our buddy Hops and Heroes had told me the 5K toys. There's a third party line, and is it Vip Toys or I forget the name of the other. It's one of the third party toys made a Metal Gear 5 snake with like the piece sticking out of his forehead, like the fragment. And it was very tempting. And I was like, do I trust it? And he said that, it's not exactly like a Mezco, but it wasn't as fragile or as like dainty as like I was worried about. Like it does hold up well. So there is a good one out there that has the cloth goods. And I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
What you're talking about is the limb toys. I think that's the
limb toy. That's it. Thank you.
It is cool. It is cool.
So you haven't thought about have you
that one? That's cool. That's cool.
You have it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
I would recommend that one. It's got a lot of microscopic pieces that just take all those off.
Okay.
Lose them or break them. But, it's pretty cool with that stuff off of it, I think.
All right, very nice. Oh, good. All right. Well, then I want to see some more shots of that guy because he's awesome. But Rob, this has been fantastic, dude. Anything else you want to add to the whole thing?
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to drop a video that I really recommend anybody that has an interest in photography.
Okay.
So the YouTube channel is Peter Mckinnon. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that YouTuber about photography, but he has this video that he does kind of like a small documentary about this famous photographer. And he's a really quirky and eccentric guy. And the title of the video is I Really Don't Want to Talk About Cameras at All. And it's this guy who, super eccentric, very, very successful photographer. And he does a little documentary about this guy. And he really emphasizes kind of the opposite of what I feel like I see a lot in the community discussion is like, camera settings and camera this and camera that and what are you doing and copying your setting. I want to see your camera settings. And he's just the total exact opposite of that. He's like, every camera is different, every setup is different, the lighting is different. Don't worry about that. And he just says you can, whatever camera you give this guy, it doesn't matter what the camera is. He's gonna mess with it till it looks cool. And what you should worry about is what's in front of the camera, not the camera itself, because you have a finite number of adjustments on the camera, but whatever is in front of the camera is an infinite number of possibilities. To focus more on what you're shooting and just making it look cool, more so than what settings are you using? Don't worry about other people's settings as much. That's what his video is kind of about. Is this eccentric guy that he doesn't want to talk about cameras. He's a very successful photographer. And he doesn't care about cameras at all. He just cares about what's in front of the camera and do what you got to do on the camera to make it look cool, even if it's not traditional settings or traditional type editing. Whatever you can do to make it look good and how you do it is more important than what camera settings your favorite photographer uses.
That's awesome, man.
It's a good video. I really recommend it, even just to see how this guy kind of lives his life. His house is like an old church that he bought, and it's got like a McDonald's looking slide from the second floor to the first. He's got a big house. Just a quirky guy. It's interesting to watch just for that. But I think his outlook on photography is motivating and fascinating, especially for anybody that's they're getting frustrated with the settings of their camera, because there are so many different permutations, and you're looking at your camera like, what do I do with this thing? And I don't know someone else's suggestions, but he's like, don't do that. Just mess with it and make it look cool. That's it. That's all you gotta do. It doesn't matter if it's weird settings or not. Just make it look cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, that's George, Agent Variant. I've learned a lot from Peter McKinnon. Fantastic videos and motivation.
Yeah.
He said Pete's pirate life. Hell yeah, fly the flag.
Yeah.
Jace is saying that dude is the man. So that's great, man. Oh, that's very cool. So yeah, I have his account up now. I'm definitely going to check that out. And it's true. It doesn't matter. I mean, we've said all the time, it doesn't matter if you have the most expensive camera in the world or you shoot on a current iPhone, an iPhone from, 5 years ago. It doesn't matter.
So when I guess Mr. Lee had his controversial comment about behind the scenes type stuff,
Sure.
that immediately made me think of that video, because I think to an extent he had a point, but the way it was conveyed,
sure,
kind of negative. But at least as far as camera stuff goes, I don't necessarily think that it's super helpful to just be following other people's settings, because your setup is not the same as theirs. And your camera probably not the same as theirs either. Just do what looks good. That's it. It doesn't matter what buttons you're pushing on your camera, as long as it comes out looking cool and you like it. Do that.
Dude, I'm still trying to figure out the difference between aperture and shutter speed and f-stop. And I'm learning it all. I just play around until I think it looks cool.
Yeah, and even in just editing, there's certain things that are kind of like the traditional thing you do in editing, and you bring the shadows up and you bring the highlights down a little bit, that kind of stuff. Like sometimes it looks really cool to do the opposite. You don't have to do the cookie cutter traditional orthodox stuff. You can do your own thing. And I think at least for myself, when I kind of abandon the idea of I'm going to try to emulate and follow people that are better than me as much as I can, which I still like to look at that stuff for inspiration, but
sure,
I more tried to say I don't want to pursue making my camera do what this guy does, and just completely separate myself from that and just mess with it.
Yep.
It looks cool. I'm gonna try that. I don't even know what this means on here, but it looks pretty cool. I'm gonna mess with that. And I think that's more fun to shoot that way when you're discovering the camera on your own, more so than, well, this guy had his number here, so I'm gonna dial mine into that. I don't even know what it means.
Right.
Just do your own thing. And I think that's a good video to watch for motivation about that kind of stuff. Don't focus on this part. Focus on what's out there in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Good video. Good motivating video for sure.
Well, thanks, Rob. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to check that out. So I appreciate that. I have it queued up on a tab. So thank you very much, man. So, hey, successful live. You did it, buddy. So I'm glad. I honestly, dude, I am honored. Thank you for coming on with me. I appreciate. I know that, taking that first step, taking that first plunge. I was nervous the first time when I went on Toy Talk. I had my glass of bourbon that I was sipping on to get me going. So, it's just a matter of practice. You're awesome, man. So I hope you do more, because you have amazing things to say. So I really appreciate it.
Hey, I really appreciate you bringing me on here. You're an awesome, positive part of this community. One that I think that sometimes that we desperately need.
I try, man. I try to focus on that positive. It's there.
Now all of a sudden, like, oh, this is awful. I'm gonna go to Yimbo for a minute. So yeah, you're doing a good thing, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to participate. It's fun to communicate with you a lot. We do a lot of talking, a lot.
Yeah, man.
And it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. You got a good thing going. You got a good community that you're working with. You got cool people. Let's just keep the positive thing going, man. It's awesome.
That's it, dude. Yeah, like I said, hey, we're changing it from the ground up, we're doing it ourselves. We're trying to be the change we want to see in the world. So, it's awesome, dude. So again, thank you guys, everybody. So AB Photos 35. This is a father-son team. If you haven't seen his stuff before, fantastic. Makes dios. You got to check him out, Rob. He's really great. Marco's in here, 100%. Oh, here we go with Jace. Mess with the camera and self-learn. That's how you discover who you are as an artist. That's very true. Clintastic. It's a balancing act with the settings. Yeah, for each setup. It's so true, guys. So thank you all, seriously, for chatting along with us. We truly appreciate it. Rob, thank you again for joining me tonight. It's awesome, and really keep up the great work. Your account is fantastic. I look forward to all your stuff, because it is movie-like, man, and I love your ideas. you've been killing me with the humor lately too. Just like, yeah, it's just awesome, man. So really keep up the great work, and you know that if you're down, I can loop you into a group chat. You can be part of my rotating hosts whenever you want. No pressure. You could just pop in if you're feeling
pretty cool.
Like you want to talk about toys. All right, man. So everybody, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday night. Have a great start to your week, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, I always screw this up. No Chewing gave me an awesome tagline, Rob, and I always forget it. It's like one man's journey from the toy aisle and I forget. So No Chewing, thank you again for giving me a tagline I can never remember. So Rob, have a great night, buddy. I'll talk to you guys later.